Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery back here in our virtual ATA 2021 studio. And with us we have Mark Hayes from Mathews. Mark, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, PJ. Thanks for having us, and thanks for doing this for the industry.
Hey, our pleasure. Well, Mark, last fall you and Mathews unveiled the new hunting bow lineup from Mathews. We got to shoot them. They're awesome bows, but people heard what I had to say about them. Let's hear what you have to say about them from the inside there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we are very excited to launch what I have right here is the V3, and it comes in two axle-to-axle lengths, similar to last year. With the two different lengths, but with all the same technology. But really the main focus this year was extending that riser past where we've ever done it before per the axle-to-axle length, meaning you're getting all the stability of a longer feeling bow, but in as compact a platform as physically possible.
Right. I did notice that it was, I believe the riser on that was the same size or maybe a little bit bigger than the VXR of the same size there, which is incredible to see, but then yet the limbs flex back downward. Exactly.
And if you would just compare it to like a couple years ago, this 27 that I have here is actually the same riser length as what would be a 30-inch traditional bow. So if you're picking up one that's 30, this is going to feel stability-wise at full draw just like that. Similarly, with the 31 is more like a 34, 35-inch bow.
Yeah.
So traditionally, those numbers for axle-to-axle length aren't traditionally long, stable bows in your mind. But what we were able to do with this long, rigid riser was actually build that stability into where you actually need it, which is that rigid portion.
Yeah, and for folks who haven't shot it before, it does make a difference having that big long riser. I generally don't like the shorter bows, but these were nice because of that big long riser. They did not shoot like a 27, 28-inch bow. They definitely shot bigger than that. Mark, so the most, aside from the limbs going almost beyond past power level, the most noticeable thing on there, obviously, is that cable arm. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be the first thing you see. We call this the Centerguard. And what you'll notice about it is our bows have been burger button centered, meaning that the arrow's getting pushed with the same force, top and bottom, and it's right in the middle of the bow. But we had an offset roller guard, as you'd see in the industry throughout. The offset roller guard is because you cannot have that roller guard in the plate of the arrow. You have to make room for that.
Right.
So we would do things in the past, like different size wheels and whatever, to try to get what's critical here is these two angles on these cables to get those close to center, but they're never perfect. With the design of the Centerguard, we are now able to get these angles perfectly the same, meaning that your cam timing for the first time is perfect. When those stops come around and hit the cable stops, your cams are in perfect alignment. And with an added benefit of we are actually able to build in more fang clearance, even though that it is in the center, because now you're only having to miss 1 point instead of a full cable trying to get by.
Right. And folks who have tuned the Mathews bows in the past, I'm sure have put them on a draw board. You come back, and as you mentioned, the cams, boy, it might just be like credit card thickness that one cam is hitting before the other, which, you know, for most people, that's not critical or anything. Mm-hmm. But as you mentioned, it was not necessarily dead spot on like the V3 can now do.
Right. And it's really just about that out of the box experience. You want to be able to build your bow, eyeball your rest, your loop, and have that just initial hole. And that's where you build your confidence that like out of the box, your bow is going to be easy to tune, and you can start building your confidence immediately. And all these things that you add into the bow, our top hat system we've had for a while for lefts and rights, and now the cable Centerguard for your highs and lows. I mean, that's where that confidence begins, and that's where the out of the box feel for that tuning, it really matters.
So talk from your end, Mark. What we generally see, we see people commenting about the super short bows. They're like, oh, you know, that's not a good bow. We want the longer bows. But Mathews, you folks certainly know there is a market for that shorter bow, and there are a lot of hunters. We see them as well coming into the shop. Eastern tree stand bow hunters, man, those guys like those short bows. Talk about from the Mathews side why you make a bow that short, and then why you have another offering as well.
Yeah, definitely. So as you know, there's varying opinions, and it's not just those Eastern guys either that want a compact bow. Sometimes it's the guys that are putting it on their backs and traveling a long way and having to duck under limbs and hike long miles. That short bow, for a lot of people, fits nicely on their pack.
Right.
The thing is, though, in where the decision comes in and why we offer two, is that you're always giving up something. So it's stability for maneuverability. What we try to do and why we're able to go to this 27, for example, is because we had a long enough riser where we felt like the stability was there. We are not going to give up stability. This bow is as accurate as the 31. What we're talking about is how your body and how you adapt to it as you're shooting. So we are well aware that there's people that like long bows and there's people that like short bows. We are always going to try to, in our hunting line, offer something for both those people, but we are super confident in that long riser being the stability. And we got guys that are 30 inches or 29 and a half for the 27 shooting this, like Lee Lakoski is a great example. He's always going to go for a shorter bow, but a Levi Morgan wants stability above anything. So he's going to be a 31 guy. And we also have a crossover bow this year in our target line, a TRX 34 for the guys that just axle to axles everything, and I want the longest one I can get. We know those people exist, and we will make a bow for them, but we always also try to make a compact version of that without giving up that stability.
Yeah, I have a TRX 34 back here, and yeah, like you mentioned, for someone who wants a longer one, here is an option. It's obviously the TRX 34, so different cams, etc. I'm sure that one's going to be a great 3D bow for a lot of people as well.
Right, exactly.
All right, Mark, so the V3, those bows are definitely awesome. We certainly expect to see a lot of sales this year, similar to the VXRs. That one was a hit home run out of the park. But now you even have some other options. Let's talk about those.
We do. I actually have them right here. I'll grab. So there are niches in archery, as you know, and we just talked about that there's different bows for different styles and different frame people. So I got two on the different ends of that spectrum.
Right.
This is the Prima. This is our short draw, women specific hunting bow, and this right here is our Atlas. It's built for people from 29 and a half to 34 inch draw length. So we felt it important to bring an offering to these fringes of the customer range, but we didn't want to sacrifice the technology and really what we're known for. And I can start first with the Prima, and both of these have the new Centerguard, just like the V3.
Yep.
They got cross-centric cams. They got long, rigid risers. So you're not giving up anything with these, but they're made for certain things in mind. Like this is a sub 4-pound bow, crazy light. And it's made for speeds and efficiencies at that short draw and short weight, where the Atlas is built for that long frame, 34 and 3/4 inch axle to axle, 6 5/8 brace height, just something to fit that big frame archer.
The brace height on that Atlas is incredible. And I'm sure you've heard, because we've seen the talk, people are always like, when's Mathews going to come out with a bow that goes out to 33, 34 inches? And, well, now they have one.
Exactly. And you have one with all the new technology. You know, that was the other thing, that sometimes you get bows that aren't maybe all the way up to the technology spectrum that a mainline would be, but this one has everything packed into it as well.
I know there were a lot of people who are excited about that Atlas because of that big brace height. And they're thinking, man, for a crossover bow between bow hunting and shooting some target, maybe 3D, that's a real forgiving bow with that big brace height.
Definitely can be, yeah.
All right, Mark, so we got those great bows. Now we need some accessories. I believe all of the Mathews bows have that SCS compatibility, which is your special system for slings and for haul-up ropes.
Yeah, and that's an accessory that we just have fell in love with just ourselves. You know, it's something that you don't have to, it doesn't come on the bow. You can choose if you want it, but once you use it, I guarantee you're always going to want it. And all these bows that we have here are compatible with that. So if you're not familiar, it's just a simple knob that comes out here, but what it is an interface for some of our accessories, like a bow rope you'll get when you buy it, and then also a sling made by Mystery Ranch that is super comfortable, made for long hikes, or even like if you're climbing up the tree stand and you don't have anything on your back, you can throw your bow on your back. You know, there's so many versatile uses for it. And once you have it, like I said, it's just going to be something that you'll always want in your system.
Well, the rope haul is especially nice. I like it because now you don't have a big hook on the end. It's just an open loop that you hook around a little post in the SCS system. Makes it nice. You don't have that clanging, you know, nothing metal rubbing against your limbs. But then you also have some new bow stands, I believe.
Yeah, and these are the engaged limb legs, and we have them on all our bows here right now, and we developed these last year. This is another accessory that just makes sense. Like once you use this on the range or even in the field, it keeps your cam off the dirt. It keeps you can have an arrow on, your arrow doesn't touch. So it makes sense, obviously, in a blind, but even spot and stock when you're moving your bow, and you could keep it up. And so for the Prima this year, it has its own cup, a little bit thinner. So we made a brand new one this year. Nice. It works very similar, but this is the slim legs. This is what the name is.
And we should tell people one of the great things about this is it doesn't actually touch the limbs, so you can shoot with it on there. Exactly,
and that's the big key. We have other limb legs that go in the limbs, like traditional ones, and you do have to remove those to shoot it, but this has no impact change. This is clips onto the cup, does not touch the limb, and you can shoot safely and accurately with it on.
Nice. All right, great new stuff this year. We're always excited to see what Mathews Archery has for the archery industry. Mark, we appreciate your time today.
Thank you, PJ, and thanks again for doing this.
All right, folks, yet another video from our ATA Virtual 2021 studio. We got plenty more coming for you.